Welcome to Spooky Stories. We're your hosts, Jackie and Martha. For the next 11 days leading up to Halloween, we'll be sharing spooky stories, but not always spooky, from books and periodicals within the collections here at Seton Hall University. We'll start off with reading the story, and then we'll follow it up with some commentary. It is day 7 of Spooky Stories, and we're bringing you a true tale from Morristown, New Jersey, called The Wonderful History of the Morristown Ghost, thoroughly and carefully revised.
The night approached, the hour arrived, and the whole company, with joy, fear, and trembling, convened at the appointed house about half a mile from the field. This field was environed on the north and west by a thick wood. The circles and angles had been drawn on the preceding day. About 10 o'clock in the evening, they all left the house and, proceeding with peculiar silence and decorum, entered the circles with the greatest solemnity, being fully sensible that they were surrounded by apparitions and hobgoblins. Upon one part of the circle were erected 4 posts, in order to spread a cloth and form a tent where Rogers could preside as governor of the ghastly procession. The number which entered the circles were about 40. This number were walking continually through the whole procession. It is not wonderful that people were timorous in this place, at such a season and on such an errand, for it was emphatically a dark night, and the candles, illuminating one part of the circle, caused a ghastly, melancholy, direful gloom towards the woods. Every person must acknowledge the congruity of this place for the pretended ghosts to make their appearance and establish the faith of their beholders in hobgoblins, witchcraft, and the devil. After they had been marching round and round within the circles for a considerable time with great decorum, they were suddenly shocked by a most impetuous explosion from the earth at a short distance from them. This was occasioned by a quantity of substance which had been previously compounded and secreted in that place. The flames, arising to a considerable height, illuminated the circumambient atmosphere, and presented to the eye many dreadful objects, from the supposed haunted grove, which were again instantaneously involved in obscurity. Immediately after the pretended ghosts made their appearance, and hideous groans were heard. They remained invisible to the rest of the company, but conversed with Rogers in their hearing. The spirits informed them of the vast treasures which were in their possession, and which they could not resign unless the company should proceed regularly and without variance. And as fortune had discriminated them to receive the treasure, they must deliver to the spirits every man 12 pounds, for the money could not be relinquished by the spirits until that sum could be delivered into their hands. The company were also directed to acknowledge Rogers as their conductor, and to adhere his precepts. The spirits, moreover, declared that, as they knew all things, they would detect the man who should attempt to defraud his neighbor. These pretended ghosts had machines over their mouths, which caused such an alteration in their voices that they were not recognized by any of the company during the procession, which continued until about 3 o'clock in the morning. Now the whole company confide in Rogers and look up to him for protection from the raging spirits. After several ceremonies, Rogers dispelled the apparitions, and they all returned from the field, wondering at the miraculous things which had happened, being fully persuaded by the existence of hobgoblins and apparitions. By this time they could revere Rogers, believing him something more than a man, and such was the influence which he possessed over them, and with a despotic power, that is, in my opinion, that if he put one of them to death, he would have been justified and defended by the rest. Thus far, every project terminated agreeably to his wishes. This was in the month of November, 1788. I only read a chapter of this book. It's actually a 75-page book written by David Young and published by Benjamin Olds. Young and Olds. Sorry. That's so cute. In 1826. I wonder if they planned that. This actually, as mentioned previously, this is the tiny book that I was talking about in a previous episode. So thank you for listening and bearing with me as I read through it. What I liked about this story is that it is a ghost story, but it's really a story about deception and fraud. And from the chapter that I read, why I chose that chapter is because you see this man, Ransford Rogers, in action. And I thought it was so funny. You might be able to hear me kind of laughing on the recording, is that part of his ruse was, so they're trying to find this treasure hidden in the mountains, and he's claiming that he can raise the spirits of the people of whose treasure it belongs to. And in order for these people to access the treasure, they have to pay the ghosts 12 pounds each. But they're like, but we trust this guy to be our conduit, so pay him the money and then we'll let you access the treasure. I feel like if I was in that circle, I would be like, I have a question. What do these ghosts need to do with corporeal money? You know what I mean? It's like, I just found that to be really, I guess it just points to their desperation to try and get this supposed treasure that was in the mountains. But in research for this story, the following excerpt is actually taken from the Antiquarian Booksellers Association of America about the book. Quote, one Ransford Rogers, supposedly a Connecticut schoolmaster, but in reality a fraudulent diviner, was brought to Morris County in 1788 because of his professed ability to communicate with spirits. It was the belief of many local residents that at the outbreak of the Revolution, the Tories in the vicinity of Schooley's Mountain had buried money and other valuables in the hills. After the defeat of Great Britain, many of these loyalists fled, leaving behind their buried possessions. These treasures were guarded by hobgoblins and apparitions. If the spirits could be dispelled, great riches would be available. Rogers, seeing a perfect opportunity in the gullible local residents, concocted a series of nocturnal events to reinforce the faith the locals had in ability to communicate with the spirits. Once he gained their confidence, he began to extract money from them. Eventually, his scheme was discovered and he was jailed. Released on bail, he fled the area, end quote. So that's just to give you some more context of what this man was doing to these poor people. Kind of reminds me of the plot of The Music Man. I don't know if you ever seen that musical, but
No,
it's like this guy who comes in and he's like a traveler, and he's like, oh, you have to get these kids to these kids are misbehaving, and I'll be their music teacher, and I'm gonna, pay me a lot of money, and I'll help them go on the right path. I was in the musical in high school, but that's kind of what it reminded me of, that they just implicitly trust this random guy that comes into town.
I just like that it's another New Jersey tale, too.
Yeah.
Like our Patterson one.
It's kind of like a very New Jersey tale, too.
Yeah.
Like, we want money that's buried in the mountains. Help us. I can say that I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, we both are.
Yeah.
Still looking to find that treasure.
Yeah.
I wonder though, if there was any truth to it, if they ever found anything, or
that's what I was trying to find out, and I didn't find really anything about it. But it makes me want to go dig.
Or hey, historical society somewhere in Morristown. Let us know if
that
there's
would
any.
be better instead of trying
if you know anything else.
dig in these mountains. I should email them and see if they have any. Maybe there's expeditions or diary entries by people who tried to find this treasure.
Or just how did it come about? I guess it was just some dude talking and hearsay. Or is there more of a good tale behind it?
What the Antiquarian Society quote, I mean, that makes sense with the revolution happening, and there were Tories and loyalists who wanted to flee because, especially in this area, it was very patriot heavy. So I get them kind of abandoning their belongings and leaving and hoping that maybe once the war is over, they can go and get it back, but obviously it didn't end in their favor.
I'm also getting National Treasure tale
Yes,
vibes over here.
Where was this representation in National Treasure?
What was I gonna say? Oh no, it was gonna be a good point.
Nick Cage, we need you.
Oh, something about where's it? Oh, okay, hobgoblins I can get surrounding a treasure, but how'd they loop the spirits in?
I think it was
because
the spirits of the people, of the family members who had to
but I mean, if no one died, I get you buried the treasure and you left, so then you died and you went back to haunt your treasure. I feel like that's kind of a far.
Well, exactly. That's why he duped these people. The logic really isn't there. But that's kind of what it alludes to in the story, though. He is saying that these spirits, because they were forbidden from their treasure in life because they had to abandon it, that's why these townspeople had to pay them 12 pounds to get them to be dispelled and access their treasure. Which, if it's only 12 pounds, that's what, $16? That's not, I guess back then that's a lot of money. But it's not a very good treasure if that's how much they're asking for them to leave.
Yeah, I wonder how much it would be today in today's money.
Here, let's see.
Converter.
1770, what, 6 money?
1788. If you want.
This is just
dead. And I wonder who paid his bail. I wonder if it was the ghosts.
Oh, $1 in 1788 is equivalent to about $35.43 in today's money.
Okay, what?
So let's see, 12.
$3,000?
No, that's for $100. I want just $12.
Well, how much did you say it was? I'm sorry. $1.
$1 is about $35 in today's money.
So 420.
We are historians. We did not go to school for math. So, wait, what did you say? Sorry.
I did the math. So so $1 is $35 in today's money.
$1.
Yeah, $1 would equal 35 in today's money.
Yes.
So times by 12 is 420. So $420 today's money. Could you imagine paying a ghost $420 just to see their treasure? And also, I want to know who paid his bail. Was it the ghosts?
Right. Or they also allude to actors in that he employed. He went to Morristown, then he went back to New York because he was in New York before he came to New Jersey, and he brought back, he was telling these people of his plan. He's I need some help. So, and he brought back a teacher from New York, but I'm not sure if the guy from New York was in on it. But it does allude to people having machines over their mouth to alter their voice as they're kind of moaning and groaning like spirits. So I feel like he had some accomplices. But you'll just have to read the full book to find out.
And maybe it's on Hathi Trust. Maybe we can connect to it. If not, come to the archives.
If not, come to the archives and come read this tiny little book. That's it for today's episode of Spooky Stories. We are your hosts, Jackie and Martha. If you enjoyed Spooky Stories, be sure to share and follow us on social media at SHU_libraries. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and remember, the library holds more than just books. Some stories may linger long after the lights go out.